Yo, it's Elut. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're doing something a little different. This is very much inspired by Phantom's Yugioh. I've mentioned his channel like once, I think, in like one of the finer details of branded videos. He's great. Go check him out if you've never seen him before, first of all. But he does this thing where like every few months or something, he'll bring out all his deck cores and he'll talk about like decks he's tried or that he's built and what he likes about each one or what he doesn't like and stuff like that. And tomorrow, as of the recording of this video, but probably today, the day I'm posting the video, hopefully, is actually marking my 1 year back in Yu-Gi-Oh! For those who don't know, I came back February 24th of 2023. And I had not played since like 2018, like early 2018 or something. Back when like Link monsters were still like fairly new. And it's been really fun. I've not had more fun in Yu-Gi-Oh! Than I have in this past year. And I kind of want to celebrate that a little bit and just talk about some stuff. So if that interests you, I'm glad you're here. You know, just grab a drink and chill for a bit and that sort of stuff. So the first deck I have to talk about is the deck that really hooked me into Yu-Gi-Oh! The first time, which is Cyber Dragons. I have such a soft spot for Cyber Dragons. This is not in the frame at all, huh? I have a soft spot for Cyber Dragons. I love them so much. But I can't play it, dude. Like, as you'll notice too, all of my decks that I actually play are in purple sleeves now. I like the purple sleeve color. I can't explain it. That's just me. These are in white sleeves, which means I have not re-sleeved or played with these in quite a long time. I love this deck. I like my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh character ever is Hellkaiser Ryo. That dude is fucking sick. But I can't play this deck, man. It just hurts. It just makes me sad. Because it cannot go first. It is dog shit going first. I hate to say it. And you can go second with it, but you kind of have to have like a perfect hand in order to OTK. And if you don't OTK, you also lose. So it pains me to say I cannot play this deck right now. Maybe in the future, if it gets new support, I'll be cooking with the Cyber Dragons. I love them so much, but I just can't right now. They're just so bad, dude. And it's not even in the sense of like, oh, I like this deck because it's funny and it's kind of bad. Like Cyber Dragon is just bad. It's just bad. And like some of the cards I feel like that they've released for Cyber Dragons don't actually help what the strategy was always meant to do, which is kind of rough. Like Cyber Dragon Seeger, love the art of that card, but it is trash. It is so trash. And Infinity is okay, but it's not enough to build a board going first, and it does not help you OTK or anything, really. So, I don't know. Love the deck, but I can't, dude. And I have not been playing it very much. It hurts me, but, you know, it is what it is. And second up, just to get it out of the way for anybody who's been watching my channel for any amount of time, is Branded. I picked up Branded within the last year. I think it was roughly around, like, March or April-ish of 2023 was when I first started playing it. And I didn't even think I liked it all that much at first, which is the weird part. I really learned that it was the build I was playing I just didn't really like. I think the first Branded build I like play tested with was like, it was like MBT's 10-minute testing, and it had like the adventure engine, DPE, and then like Branded stuff. And I just didn't like that. I love DPE for the record. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I was just like, dude, I'm not into this. And for some reason, it just clicked out of nowhere. I started watching Galzo. I started watching Phantom's Yugioh. Again, shout out to Phantoms. And I saw the right videos and I learned the right things. And I was like, holy shit, this deck is awesome. This deck is fucking awesome. I love it so much. I love every single monster. I love every extra deck monster. It's a spell slinging deck with fusion summoning, and if you can't tell, I have a soft spot for fusion summoning. This deck is beautiful. I love all of its iterations. Even Chimera, like I'm not super into Chimera Branded that much. Like I don't play it. I have not built it in person, but it's still like pretty fun. But the Despia version and the Synchro variant, oh man, I could play that shit for hours and hours and hours. It is so great. I love it so much. It's my favorite deck by far. which is no surprise to anyone who's been around this channel. Third up is another GX nostalgia trip, which is Hero. I love this deck. It's not like particularly fantastic, but it fills that void in me that Cyber Dragons used to have, where like, yeah, it's a bit of a nostalgia trip. It's a fun deck that is by no means meta, but it still feels like it works some of the time. Unlike Cyber Dragons, I feel like Cyber Dragon just sometimes does not work. Like, it just doesn't do anything sometimes. But Hero is... It just feels better to play, and I can't even lie, normal summoning Stratos... Dude, that shit hits. Like, there's not a better normal summon in the entire history of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you ask me. As far as, like, feeling. Like, nothing feels like normal summoning Stratos. I'm an Aluber hater. I don't like that guy. But Stratos... Oh... Stratos is my dog. This deck is so fun. You know, I did kind of learn over time that I do like some combo, but I also like mid-range, and I've come to have a really unexpected appreciation for control as well. I don't like playing stun though. Stun is fucking boring. And the sad part about Hero to me is that, like, Stratos is cool, DPE is cool, but a lot of times the best tools that Hero has are the sort of floodgatey, like, stun cards. Like, I love Plasma. Plasma's cool, but, I mean, it's just a skill drain on legs. The Dark Angel lock is pretty cringe and stupid. Dark Law is pretty based, though. I like Dark Law a lot. He's cool. So that's, you know... That's like a minor problem I have with it, is like not all of what Hero does is necessarily interactive or, you know, back and forth. It's more like, okay, did you get Plasma and or did you lock them with the Dark Angel or something stupid? Which you could say that about Branded with like the Gimmick Puppet stuff, but I've talked about the Gimmick Puppet at length. I don't play it because I don't like it, and I don't think the deck needs it in any capacity. Whereas Hero, it's like, you know, sometimes you actually kind of do need Plasma to win, which that is what it is. But I love this deck. It's still really fun to play. So Hero's cool. And then the fourth one I'll talk about here is... I'll talk about Trap Tricks. I'll talk about Trap Tricks because this deck kind of caught me out of left field, if I'm being honest. This was the first structure deck I bought when I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Last year, because one thing that you should know about me is I am a sucker for structure decks. I don't really even care what it is. If they release a structure deck, I'm probably just buying 3 of it, whether I build it or not. I love that product. I love that they have, especially over time, gotten so much better at like actually putting in like new cards for an archetype or giving you cards that actually do something. And oftentimes you don't have to add all that much in order to like really improve it. And Trap Tricks was shocking to me because it's a trap deck. And when I looked at it at first, I was like, well, I don't think I like trap decks, right? Like, you know, Cyber Dragons is like proactive, like beat down OTK deck. Like, would I really like a trap deck? And I find the deck really fun to play, surprisingly. You know, it's basically a trap deck it's a combo deck disguised as a trap deck, which I think is why I actually like it, because there's like combos in it. It sucks going second. Going second basically comes down to 1, did you draw evenly matched? And 2, can you resolve evenly matched? Because if not, you're probably screwed, which that's unlucky. But when you do get to play, I think this deck is super fun. And it actually made me question, like, wait a minute, have I just been writing off, like, trap strategies? Like, what if these are actually really fun? Like, maybe I didn't know that. And then I tried Labyrinth, and I was like, nope, 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 I still hate trap strategies. That's just boring as hell. No diss to Labyrinth players or anything like that, but I thought that deck was boring to play. And it's fun. And Trap Tricks also lets me play one of my favorite cards ever printed in it, which is Mr. Time Thief Redoer. And that's I am not even gonna lie, that's like part of the fun. I fucking love this card, dude. He's so cool. His design is so cool. So, Trap Tricks, surprisingly, still really fun. I will still play it sometimes. I would play it more than Hero, definitely more than Cyber Dragons. Not nearly as much as Branded or the next one that I'm going to talk about. But it's my quote-unquote fun deck. I don't expect it to do anything crazy, but the interaction, the back and forth with each monster having like a different effect when normal or special summoned, and then Sarah like constantly, you know, getting them in the rotation even on your opponent's turn for disruption is really fun for me. And I get that feeling a lot when I play Branded too. So I kind of learned that that's what I like about decks. I like the constant interaction. That's what like keeps me invested and interested in having fun. So shout out to Trap Tricks for real. Deck number 5 is a deck that I picked up about 6-ish months ago. If I had to estimate, like 5 or 6 months ago. I've talked about it a little bit, but that is Dragon Link. And this deck is also so fun. Sorry if the framing is like a little bit cursed. But yeah, Dragon Link, dude, this deck is so fun. It's so fun to play. I can't speak for playing against it, like, as far as, like, the public perception, because I've heard a lot of people don't like to play against Dragon Link. I've never really felt a problem with it, but maybe that's just me. But playing it yourself, this deck is so fun. Another thing I learned about myself is that I love decks that have a million different lines to get to the things that you want. And I get that from Branded a lot, and I get that from Dragon Link a lot. A lot of times it feels like you have your entire deck in your hand the moment you start the game, and it's just figuring out how to get to it. That's a lot of the fun part. And I don't know, just the versatility of it, even through like certain hand traps and stuff, is really interesting to me. It's so fun to play. The dragons are so cool, dude. Who doesn't love fucking dragons? So, yeah, big fan of Dragon Link. It's probably my second most played deck, behind the Branded Despia variant and the Branded Synchro variant. Third up beyond those. If you count Branded as one, then second up is Dragon Link. This deck is so fucking cool. It's so cool. The Rockets are fun. The Bestials are fun. Seifert and the Chaos Babies are fun. All that good stuff. So, super fun deck. And I think it's definitely worth it to learn. Not in terms of like, oh, this is a hard meta pick and you need to learn it. But just in terms of like the fun of learning it, I think is so worth it. Because it's just infinitely interesting to me. I feel like I'm still learning like things every time I play it. Which is a really, really cool feeling. So yeah, shout out to Dragon Link. That deck's super fun. So we talked about structure decks a little bit with Trap Tricks. So we'll talk about the Red Dragon Archfiend stuff here, like the Soul Resonator stuff and all that. I bought 3 of this. I'm a big fan of the 5Ds anime, specifically the sub. I have not seen the dub. I can't speak on it. You know, I don't know if it's good or not. But I love the sub. And Jack Atlas is baller. So I was like, dude, let's just get the structure decks. Hell yeah. It was fun. And you'll notice like the core of this is a lot smaller than the rest of these. Partially because the build that I was doing for this initially had like a lot of like the Bestials and things like that in it. But I've taken those out obviously for Dragon Link, or like if I use them in my Branded version for whatever version I'm playing at the time. So, you know, deck core is smaller for that reason. It's fun. When you do get to cook, you really get to cook. But I don't think that I really get anything out of playing Red Dragon Archfiend that I don't get from Branded and or Dragon Link, if that makes any sense. Because when you add Bestials into the RDA stuff, it kind of just feels like a budget Dragon Link in a lot of ways, with like some Jack Atlas cards. There's some cool stuff about it, like the Red Zone and the Crimson Gaia are like actually kind of baller cards, I have to say. So it's fun, it's cool, but I don't love it. I haven't played it much since like the month the structure came out. But it is what it is. I love Jack Atlas, so, you know, shout out to that guy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I guess just to round off the structure decks here, So Traptrix, I got Traptrix, and it's surprisingly still fun to me. For what it does, I think it's actually pretty fun. RDA was okay. I don't think it was like particularly enriching, but it's still cool. I just feel like, certain other decks give me similar things, if not better things. And then I also bought 3 Fire King structure decks, and they are still in the box. So if that tells you anything about me, yeah, I don't know. I bought them because I was like, hey, I may as well have them. Again, I'm cool with structure decks, but the fire stuff just does not interest me at all. But anyways, the next deck I want to talk about is a runic variant, and it is the runic bestial stuff. With like the bestials and Quem and all that stuff. Obviously, the Quems are in my branded deck right now and things like that. This deck caught me by surprise too, because I used to just look at runic cards like at a distance and be like, that is not fun. But turns out the runic engine in a vacuum is actually extremely fun. The fun part about it is the sort of back and forth. It is knowing when to play a certain runic spell and on what, and you get rewarded like crazy if you know those kind of things. Like knowing what to hit within your matchup is really fun. Draw power is fun, that kind of stuff. And bestial runic is in no way like a stun strategy, which runic kind of gets thrown into that category sometimes because of runic stun, like where they play all the cringe traps, like there can be only one, and goes in match and all that nonsense rivalry, and they just like deck you out. Whereas in bestial runic, decking out is like a last ditch effort to win. Like that's not your first goal. It's much more interesting. There are like actual combos and things like that, so it's fun. I couldn't play runic all day though, I don't think. Like in the moment it's fun, the draw power is fun, and the cards are cool. Like they all have very simple effects, which I think is also interesting. Like just working with very simple tools is really fun in its own way. And I do like the control aspect, which I also get from like Dragon Link and maybe a little bit of Traptrix too. When it's not stun, it is control. I want to make that distinction. But I also have kind of noticed that like with runic, I think it's more fun, honestly, to play on like an automated sim online. Just, it's like the dopamine rush of like all these draws and like playing, drawing. And that's fun, but I could not do it like all day like I could with Branded or Dragon Link. So it's really cool. I've developed like a real appreciation for the runic engine. I actually think it's super interesting. Just don't pair it with floodgates, because that's cringe and stupid as hell. But, that is what it is. But I actually like the bestial runic variant. And it's not just because there are some branded cards in there. I actually do think it's kind of fun. And then the last one is probably the newest development as of right now. I've been thinking about picking up like Voiceless Voice just to play around with, to have a cool ritual deck. But with low right now being $80, I don't see that happening in the near future. But besides that little thing, the deck that I have built and have been playing is actually Sky Striker. And this deck also sort of scratches that itch of like playing a control strategy, which again, I kind of get from like these two a little bit. And that's kind of fun, like knowing where to play your interactions. And getting rewarded for playing them in the right place is a really fun feeling. And like going for like the minimal sort of like end board, or like, I don't know, just like trading and like baiting things and all that sort of stuff. Like you're more so playing the opponent rather than like the deck or the cards. And I think that's so fun when you feel like you're playing the opponent more than anything else. I don't think this deck is like super crazy good by any means. I think people, honestly, I think people cope on Sky Striker a little bit sometimes. I don't think the deck is very good, but it is so fun, especially with Thrust. Now that I got Thrust for the branded build, I've been playing it in Sky Striker, and that shit is crazy. Like getting ashed on Engage and then just searching another one with Thrust is nuts. Like that's actually really funny. And I also really like it because it's like, it's also like a spell slinging kind of strategy like Branded is. You know, I kind of get that vibe too. It's really fun. I do think it's like pretty power crept by a lot of stuff out there right now, but I'm surprised also with how fun this deck is. And it's a lot of like I said, it's like control. It's like playing the opponent. It's knowing where to hit a specific thing, like specific choke points in a matchup, and being rewarded for that kind of knowledge is really cool. And I don't know, I'm surprised. This deck is actually really fun. It's actually really fun. Because I was basically looking for like a toss format deck to try out, and I don't have any interest in Salamangreat like at all. Not that I think the deck is like stupid or cringe or something, but I don't have any interest in playing it myself. Like, it's fine, whatever. Thunder Dragons, I don't know why you would play that if like the boss monster's banned. Like, imagine playing Branded without Mirror Jade, like how weird that would be. So I didn't see the point in that. And then Orcus like just got Harp Horror to 1. I don't know Orcus that well either. I don't know how that looks today, to be quite honest. But Sky Striker, like generally speaking, is probably one of the more functional ones. Like, maybe right now with the new fire support, Salamangreat is better. I don't really know. I'm not the person to ask. But most of its pieces are still here. A lot of them are just at like 1 or 2, you know, like the Hornet drones and the Engage at 2 right now and stuff like that. So it's largely playable in like a fun sort of functional sense, just not necessarily meta or anything like that. But this deck's actually surprisingly fun. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I forgot any decks. If I will, I'll write it in the description or something just in case you're curious. But I hope you enjoyed this video for today, just reviewing my last year in Yu-Gi-Oh! My first year back in Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, I just wanted to do a chill little thing here today, just talk about some stuff. I thought it might be fun. Let me know if you play any of these decks, if you like any of these decks, or if based on what I said here today about the decks I like, maybe you have a recommendation for what I should try next based on those preferences. I'm super down for that too. Feel free to comment something. But yeah, I think that's it for me today, so thank you again for watching. Peace out. Take care.